Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Another episode of the Detour Live. It's a day after the rest day. Riders are recovered and ready to smash another big week of the Tour de France. We're very lucky to be joined by a special guest, Sam Bewley, who rides for Team Bike Exchange Jayco and is also a world-class podcaster on the Social Distance podcast. And of course, Johnny Trevorrow. Start with you, Bills. Podcast in the can yesterday and some great insights from our old mate George Bennett, who's had a bloody good tour so far, you'd have to say.
He has. He's had a great tour. He's riding well, but it was interesting to hear his perspective on some of the reports in media or other people have been saying to him, saying like he's mentioned that people thought he had a really bad first week, and he was going, "When was I bad?" But he's been riding really well in the mountains the last few days, and yeah, it was an interesting chat talking about the tactics of UAE. Obviously, there's been a lot of people saying, are they riding too hard? Should they have given the yellow jersey away? Maybe they didn't have enough riders around Pogačar in those early stages in Denmark. So it's good to hear from George about what he thought about that, and also what the battle they've got coming up with, where Indy's sitting, where Jumbo is sitting. So yeah, it's going to be a hell of a second week.
I'm more rapt that George is riding well because that's how we got him on the podcast. If he was riding average, he would have said, "Sorry, boys. Not up for it today."
They're still in a mood.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you travelling iffy? What are you looking forward to this week?
Well, the next 3 days I think are fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. They're like blocks, aren't they? We've got 3 serious days where some people are saying on the tour is just beginning now. In some ways, I suppose it is, but it's been pretty amazing so far. And I'm looking forward to I think it's definitely going to be a battle between my mate Vinegar and the Pog. And he's shown, he hasn't shown any weakness, Jonas. He looks very, very good. And I like the way when Pogačar did that little sprint just at the end of the last stage, he was right there on the wheel and no one else could hold it. So I think we'll see some really good battles. Not so much today. I don't think the GC boys will really come out to play today, but the next 2 days after that are monsters. And, if there's a challenge, it's where it's got to come. What do you think, Bills?
Yeah, I think this week is going to be a defining week, and I agree with you, Iffy. I mean, today's the first out of the rest day. I can't remember off the top of my head the stage. Have you got it, Jonesy?
Yeah, I got it here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, mate, I've always well prepared. Don't worry about
that. First day after the rest day can be an opportunity, because a lot of people react quite the rest day. Normally after the second rest day or the third rest day in this year's case, but sometimes you can come out of it with your legs are a bit blocked. You're not feeling as good. Maybe didn't do quite enough riding on the rest day. So maybe a GC guy will, if he backs himself to be feeling good after a rest day, just test this out. But I agree with you, Iffy. I think the middle of this week, Wednesday, Thursday, those stages, the edge. They all provide opportunities for especially for Ineos
11.
who have
and 12's the same, and both of them they're one's as hard as the other. They're monsters. Yeah, that stage 12 up to his stage, the likes of Caleb and Dylan Gonavagan, they would be absolutely packing themselves because you got the Galibier to start. So they're well out the back, and then they've got to get inside the time limit with another 2 HCs to go. So that's going to be a monster for probably the biggest challenge for them getting through to the finish, I reckon, at stage.
You know what a real shame about that stage is that, well, not for Caleb and that. I'm sure they wish that valley between the Col de la Coiffure and Alpe d'Huez was too long. But it's a shame there's that 15K valley between the second to last and the last climb, because that stage is perfect for like Jumbo to send Roglic up the road early with someone at the breakaway waiting for him, or Ineos to play the same tactic. But the valley makes it a bit harder.
Yeah, but the day before, mate. Yeah, I reckon you're dead right. And you look at this one. They're descending and then straight back up, and you got the Col de Telegraph and the Galibier are really one climb. You got that little short thing, so it's actually like a 40K climb. it's a monster up to the top of the Galibier. It's going to be. I'm looking forward to that day, big time.
Yeah, high altitude as well. That plays a role.
Yeah.
On the show, Bewley, you identified that there's no sprint stages left really until what, stage 19, possibly in Paris.
Yeah, I think. I don't think there's any guaranteed sprints until stage 19. I think stage 19 is definitely a sprint, but between now and stage 19, there's a couple of possibilities.
Well, stage 13, you've got
guaranteed.
a Cat 3, a Cat 2, and a Cat 3. Well, early in the stage, yeah, I reckon the sprinters, like someone like Caleb, can get through that if the team rides well for him.
If he gets through the other stages through the time cut.
Well, you've got to get through. You've got to get through, of course. But let's say they're there. Probably maybe a bit hard for Dylan, but for the likes
Ling.
of but the other sprinters you think would.
So what you're saying,
Iffy,
is that somebody's going to be sprinting. Sprint stage, but somebody will be sprinting. Dylan won't be there. Caleb might be.
I reckon
sprint stage, John.
Jacobson. No, but I reckon there'll be some sprinters there on that one. It's not too bad.
Yeah, no. It's a possibility for sure. Yeah.
I've got a couple of live comments. Dan the Man, 2807, love the Social Distance podcast. Great host. Wendy, superfan. Hi, Dan, John, Sam. Sorry to hear Ben is out, but better for his recovery. Now, we've got a clip that I've pinched from the AG2R Twitter, and this is Ben O'Connor talking about having to leave the Tour de France.
The stage to Lausanne, I tore my glute muscle, so pretty much I'm just pedaling with one leg. So it's been really difficult. I fought yesterday, and I really wanted to try to see if I could get past this point of pain, but it's just way too much. You have like a knife in your ass, more or less. So it's pretty brutal, and I don't think it's going to get better by the end of the race. So yeah, I won't be making the start stage 10. Even though that idea kind of fell apart a few days ago, you still have the hope that you could still win a stage. You know, like it was never a lack of form. It was just pure bad luck. So all I can do is try and shrug my shoulders and pass it off, and remember that this sport is brutal. You know, it doesn't. If it takes you in her arms and puts you down on the floor, then she's going to hold you there. So it can be a bit frustrating, but in the end, there's not a lot you can do about that. So I just have to reset and thinking now about the future, and how I can then continue performing like I dream and like I hope and like I know I can be. I hope the boys the rest of the luck. You know, we've got such a good crew here, and I hope I've taken all the bad luck with me, packed in my suitcase, and I can take it away from them, because they deserve more success like yesterday, and I hope the team can finish in Paris with their arms up in the air one more time.
There you go, Ben O'Connor. Now, if you've identified stage 15, you said it's another sprint stage. What are you talking about? That's Colombier, HC. What is written in that one?
No, it's not. Stage 15 is Rodriguez de Carcassonne. So
you wrote in private message, you said,
we'll have a look at stage 15, mate.
What have I got here? Oh,
I don't know.
Is that last year's stage 15?
Must be last. Yeah,
he's always well prepared. Sorry. He's well prepared now, mate.
Sorry, I didn't put 2022. I was going to say.
Quick to have a go at me. Quick to have a go at me.
I'm having a look. Yeah, you're right, Iffy. That's a good chance for a sprint for sure.
Yeah. I reckon. Not just Caleb, but bloody Jacobson and Phillipson. Both. Yeah. Big chance for them.
Yeah, there you go. That's the profile. That looks a bit better.
Interesting. I was listening to Matty Keenan was on SEN radio earlier. I reckon it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, because he sounded a bit like me, a bit croaky. But he was talking about the fact that Ben O'Connor was out, and that how AG2R really pushed him to go that extra day. He really wanted to pull out on stage 9, but they pushed him to go to the rest day. He knew it wasn't going to get better. He already, knew it was a tear, so he went the extra day. And he was talking about, Gero also said when he was with AG2R, when you felt a bit crooked in a race, they said, no, just start, see how you go. They were always wanting you to go that bit further rather than say, hang on, we're paying this bloke a lot of money. Let's look after him, a bit the way they think. Anyway, it was interesting.
As a rider, Bills, is it come down to, obviously you got the medical advice or whatever, but how much pull do you have as a rider to say, you know what, I'm not starting. I don't care what the team say. I know my body. I know my sort of what my goals and objectives are. Like for Ben, he can obviously go away, try and recover, maybe do the Tour of Spain. But how much say do you have as a rider with that stuff?
Oh, you can pull out of a race with bike, but if you're injured, I've always liked to have the doctors make a decision, even though I would say to a doctor if I was in a situation like that where I didn't think I could continue, I would have that conversation with the doctor, but I'd always like the doctor to be the person who told the management. Just because I think that's what they're there for, the management, if a bike rider goes, I want to go home, I feel sick, depending, you could be, are you going to be judged or, you're a bit nervous about what the team's going to think. But if it comes from the doctor, then it should never be questioned. And then, in Ben's case, it's quite interesting because in a Grand Tour, it's always like, if I can get to the rest day, maybe I can recover. Maybe I just need that day off. I just need that easy day or whatever. And that's often the case with injuries sustained in crashes and Grand Tours. Crashes before where I've had a knee, but I was to the doctor about it. He said, it just needs a little bit of time. There's no damage. So, okay, if I can just get through this stage, tomorrow I can lie in bed all day, whatever. But if Ben's team doctors knew that it was a tear, you would assume that they'd be like, well, a Monday in bed's not fixing that. That's a week's to fix a tear muscle.
Well, we said that when he told us he had the tear at the start of stage 9. We said, I was thinking, why are you even starting? It's a tear. Yeah. It's not a strain. It's not going to get better. And no rest day is going to recover a tear.
And that's where you definitely need the doctor again to say, you aren't, the doctor has to make those calls. And we've always been lucky in our team that we've had those doctors that if you're really in a position where they just say, I put my shoulder out. I see joining the Giro d'Italia in 2019, and I was convinced I could still race the Giro. It was a week away or whatever. The doctor just said, "No, you're not racing, mate. It's not good for you." And that's where you need the doctor just to say, because the bike rider doesn't want to stop. Ben's thinking, maybe there is a chance I can still get through. Maybe in 10 days' time it feels a bit okay, or in a week's time it feels all right, and I can get up the stage and up the road and win a stage. They don't want to stop. He's trained, as he said in that video, for so long for this race. Last thing he wants to do is go home. But a doctor needs to say, you're going home. Simple as that.
Got a couple more comments. Gabe saying, looking forward to Vlasov pulling something off so Jonesy can give a Kanga to Zuckerman. Wendy Superfan goes, Sam, when are you racing again?
Well, I was supposed to be on Saturday, but the race got cancelled last night. We had a one-day race in Holland on Saturday scheduled, but the farmers are protesting in Holland, so the police have got to go and guard.
The farmers out.
Guard, I don't know, salary. So they can't do the bike race. They can't cancel the bike race. So it'll be 10 days later in Spain, Castilla Leon.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick drinks break. When we come back, we've got a snippet from George Bennett from the Social Distance podcast. It was an interesting chat where he's talking about what he's expecting from Wout Van Aert and the Jumbo Visma boys, so stay tuned.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike. 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks again to Bike Exchange. As we always say, Iffy, if you need anything bike related, you know where to go. bikeexchange.com.au, mate.
Yes, no matter where you are in the world, if you want a mountain bike, a track bike, a road bike, or their great new range of e-bikes, just jump onto bikeexchange.com and you'll find it.
All right. Well, as we said before the drinks break, we're going to show a snippet of the Social Distance podcast. I had to bleep a few of the F-bombs out because there are little kiddies watching the detour. But here's George's insights when we asked him, how he thought like they were going to race with Wout Van Aert, because we're talking about, tactics and strategy. And I think at one point, Bills, you had to backtrack on a big statement saying, when is Wout going to be a better teammate? And then George put you in your spot and you said, yeah, no, actually. He's a good teammate. So anyway, this is George's insights on Wout Van Aert.
Is it going to come a point where they're going to use them in a different way?
Yeah. Do you know what worries me is how I know they're going to use them, and what is coming for me is that I don't know if it's tomorrow. Probably not. I'd say maybe Alpe d'Huez or the day or Grand Honor Alpe d'Huez. Day after, sort of Wednesday, Thursday, or potentially Pyrenees. But I don't reckon they'll wait that long. Is there's going to be one of these, like, remember how Valverde won the Vuelta, won the Vuelta that year from Rodriguez, when a couple of teammates up the road, they launch across, he's going to be the guy that's already up the road, someone's going to somehow get to him, and then it's game on, and then we're on for like one of those days where it's just, there's already been so many days where I haven't even stopped for a piss. There was one day, I mean, okay, it wasn't my fault. Well, it wasn't. I had 2 punctures and a mechanical, and I spent 100k before I saw the peloton from the neutral zone. But there's been a few days like this where, like, it's just, I don't reckon anyone stopped for a piss yesterday. Like, just full gas, start to finish. But we were just in control. But there's going to be a day where, like, if we don't ride that fast, Roglic or Jonas or one of the anyone else could do it as well, where, there's that situation where you got a guy like Wout on the road, someone jumps to him, and it's going to be one of those stages you watch like the whole 5 hours.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that about like you guys riding fast, because there's obviously been a bit of stuff in the media about people, like some guys saying like, oh, a UAE using the bullets too early, like with controlling breakaways that perhaps you could have, I don't know, for argument's sake, given the yellow jersey away or let breakaways win.
Get off our backs.
Exactly, like. At the end of the day, like G hit it on the head in the interview yesterday, where he said, but they had it under control. Like they can do that. They did that because they can.
Absolutely giving me the shits this tour. The first week we weren't good enough. Everyone saying, these guys are not riding well. So what are you talking about? We're not riding well. Okay, we didn't make 8 lines. We didn't make 8 guys line up in a row for the TV. But the thing was, Tadej always had a guy with him, always there. Okay, Roubaix stage, me and Brandon were both with him in the front, and we both crashed out. And then now we get to the terrain where our team's built for, where we just rode our pace. If the breakaway wanted to go away and they wanted to survive, they had to be good. If they wanted to take the jersey, they had to be really good. We just rode a comfortable our pace. But it's our mountains. We've got one of the best teams in the world for the mountains. And then everyone gives us shit for being too strong. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want us to be shit or do you want us to be strong? Make up your mind.
Do you know what it is, bro? It's the curse of the yellow jersey. There's not a single bike rider in the world, and I would have to say that Pogačar would have to be one of the most liked Tour de France winners. Like he's actually, you can just see it in the way he presents himself across even his social media account. He's a legend. He's just he's a young dude. Yeah, he did his little rap song. It's another nominee for a T-shirt with that rap song he did. But like, he's just.
I didn't see it. I saw you send it. I haven't seen it yet. I need to watch it.
Oh mate, it's so good. But like, he's just a young guy out there. He's having a ball, and he's bloody good. But like, you know what? Every single year at the Tour de France, for as long as I can remember, the yellow jersey always someone picks holes in something to criticize. That's just the
Actually, I
nature
think
of the
Wiggins
fucking
said
yellow
that
jersey.
yesterday. Wiggins said I saw some headline like, if he keeps winning, people will start to hate him. Which I was like, that's such an interesting psychology. But do people hate Lance, or is it because suddenly
mate,
did
massively.
Lance start this trend?
No,
But did they hate him
it's the
before
old
they
analogy.
thought-
It's the old analogy of if you're writing a story, what's going to get more clicks is like good on today, or they're writing shit, or some sort of spice. That's all they do now. It's all just like whatever's going to get the clicks. But
the thing
at
is,
the end of the day, it doesn't change anything.
And actually, no one hates any of these guys. Like apart from the real fucking pessimistic cynics out there that think every single bike rider in the world is taking drugs. Those, well, let's just remove them from the equation because they're fuckwits. But
yeah, because those are just deeply flawed people that obviously have like massive issues with the rest of their life.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, you can't judge attitude of a non-rational person. You can't judge it. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
If that's someone,
so those people, the general people who say like, oh, UAEs weren't around Pogacar in the first week, or now UAE's riding too hard. Like all those people, like exactly like you say, Jonesy, they're just writing stories, or they're just creating stories or telling stories, or whatever. But at the end of the day, they love it. Like they're the same people that if they bump into Pogacar in the pub after Champs-Elysees, they'll want a selfie with him. You know?
Yeah, so there's some insights there. We've got a couple more
fantastic
comments. Yeah, I mean, there's great insights because obviously George is quite relaxed and just calls it as it is. But it's true. And as Bewley said, it's the curse of the yellow jersey. It doesn't matter what you do. There's always going to be commentary around how the team are racing. They're too good. If they're not good, there's never like a medium ground where the media field's settled with that and say, oh yeah, chapeau. So
it's all changed, mate. Social media has changed the world.
Tim Deutsch says, why is there floating heads and arms around in the bottom of the screen? Could be two things. One, you've had too many beers, or two, that was the background for the Social Distance podcast. It should have chosen a better image. Chris Blockley says, Wout is a super domestique for the rest of the tour is a terrifying thought. Buells.
Yeah, exactly like George said. I mean, he's a freak, and we've seen that in the first week. He was doing whatever he wanted on whatever stage he chose to do it. And I think Jumbo as a whole are scary because they've got Roglic now at 3 minutes or whatever. So he's a completely different card to what he would have been had he not lost that time on the cobbles. So they'll use him in different ways now. They'll send him up the road, use him. You still don't want to let him ride himself back into the race by taking a minute or something on a breakaway. And you have Van Aert, like George says, waiting for him or putting the pressure on a climb early. I think that whole team is still pretty scary.
Iffy?
I got a question for you, Bills. I want to hear your answer on this one. A stage where Wout Van Aert is the most amazing bike rider, or complete bike rider I've ever seen. Actually, from he can out sprint the fastest sprinters, out time trial the best time trialers, and win Mont Ventoux stage. I mean, it's amazing. But in this tour, he's been amazing. But what was he doing? I think it was on stage 7 when he went up the road, and the only way he could probably lose that stage was what he did. Otherwise, he would have won the bloody thing. But I want to know what you think he was doing that day, the day when they caught him 10K to go.
That was kind of what I was sort of alluding to a little bit when I brought it up with George. I don't know. I don't know why he went up the road that day. Maybe that's the stage he rode across the breakaway. Oh, is that the stage he was just up the road with 3 guys, wasn't it? Up the road,
there's 3 of them, and then he dropped them, and then they caught him 10K to go.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for points, but I mean, seriously? He could have won the stage. He could have won the stage.
Exactly.
Kept the
jersey. He would have won the stage.
I don't know. I really don't know what that was about. I think maybe the only thing I can think of, and I mean, this is probably not correct, but maybe he thought, I'm losing the yellow jersey tomorrow on Planche de Belfi. I'm going to lose it by going out swinging today. I'm either going to keep it today and lose it on Planche de Belfi by getting dropped, or I'm going to just go haywire today and maybe I hold on to it and win the stage from a breakaway, or I get caught and I get dropped and I lose it that way. Just
Obviously, yeah.
I don't know.
But he had the stage
bit arrogant,
where
I
he went
thought.
off the front and held him off.
But that was 2 days earlier, and maybe he thought, "Oh well, I can do that. I can do it again." I don't know. That
And
was
also, the
amazing as
team
well.
have openly said in the past that they can't control him. They almost have to say, like, he's going to do what he wants to do, and that's it.
Anyway.
So,
Modern day racing. They just the script's been ripped up a couple of years ago and been rewritten at the moment by a couple of freaks.
Yeah, exactly.
Will Wizard,
you did right.
He says
Yeah.
it's only the French journalist writing that it's shite and it's going to continue till a Frenchman wins the Tour. We're not getting negative press from UAE in Belgium.
Well, it's going to be
There you go.
continuing for a long, long time then.
Chris Brockley said, as Sam said, why would Pog use his team and not just let his team chill for as long as possible? George said a few weeks ago in the social distance pod at the training camp, he was dropping everyone from the rollout. That's another good point. It's like all these teams are trying these different tactics, but as George said, he's that strong. If they want to try sending guys up the road, they want to try all this other stuff, Pog will
Look,
be able to
they've
do
all.
what he wants to do.
UAE have been riding a smart race, but so have the others too. I mean, Jumbo done a couple of strange things. I felt for them on the Roubaix day, but no use firing bullets when they're not. They're not going to work, and so the smart thing for them is, maybe not today, but tomorrow and the next day they will be firing. That's their big. That's when they're going to have to fire their bullets and do what you're saying, Buells. Get Van Aert up the road, and then the Roglic jumps across to them and puts all the pressure on UAE with Jonas just sitting there waiting to see if they can get him crack. And if they don't respond, Roglic is not that far down. So, to me, that's the tactic I think they will play in a couple of days' time.
Got a request, Diffie. You want to read it out?
Can you say hello from my uncle, Benjamin Arola?
There you go. Get on you, Benjamin.
There you go.
Hey, I'll tell you one role that is not like this team, Ineos, flying under the radar. Normally, they're the ones everyone's looking at, what are they going to do? But, what are their chances this week, Iffy, given that they've got...
Same thing. I think they're in exactly the same
guys.
boat, and they haven't played it badly at all. There hasn't been the time to do it. They've got 3 riders in the top 10. Pidcock, the surprise, and who knows what he can do. But, they're in exactly the same boat. They should be playing exactly the same, very similar game to Jumbo. They've got a strong team. So you can almost see an alliance between Jumbo and Ineos.
Looking at the Giro, right? The teams that had a clear plan at the start that have been flying under the radar, look at what happened when Bora lit it up. What was it, stage 11, stage 12, where everyone was like, oh, hang on, they're here to race. I think we'll see that from definitely Ineos at some point because they've just been calm, sitting there. They're going to try something for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
You've
they
got 3
will.
matches.
That's it. Yeah, they're definitely going to try something. They're an interesting one because they've got the 3 guys going really, really well. G's obviously back to close to his best, but at the same time, I think they know that they're not as good as Pogačar and Vingegaard. So they're not going to, if they want to win the Tour de France, they know they're not going to win it by just going toe-to-toe with them on mountaintop finishes. They've got to play a tactic at some point. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that because at a certain point they have to decide who is their priority, which rider is their number one. And at the moment, it's really hard to decide that. But you don't want to wait until somebody loses 5 minutes to decide that because then you can't use that tactic of putting the pressure on those other teams by having guys close on GC. So it could happen in the next few days as well.
Yeah, and there's guys, they haven't got the strong teams, but they're obviously riding well. Guys like Bardet, Gadu, Mas, Quintana, they're actually going really well, but they've got to hope to try and take advantage of the race between the stronger teams and jump up the road and get a gap and get into one of those moves.
Well, the Colombian media are all up and about around Quintana. I see him in the mix zone every day, and they're the ones who are like, "How did you not know that guy's name?" So they're getting Quintana every day, and they are G'd about his chances, and he's got a lot of support on the ground here. So who knows? It's going to be fascinating. But anyway, a couple of last comments before we go. Jan Boardman, who's on the ground, says Steve Cummings providing alternative tactics for Ineos. Interesting.
I think it's a good point. That's actually a good point. Steve's just stepped in basically as the lead director for Team Ineos. He's only been in the team. I think he joined them midway through last year, but I think he's been promoted to lead director in that team now, and he's calling the shots at the Tour de France. And he's a calm dude, Steve. And I think the way we're seeing Ineos ride here is different to what the way they've ridden in the past. And I think, it's largely due to the fact that they haven't got the number one favourite like they have in the past, but also the way that Steve operates. And he'll just be waiting, and he'll put the hammer down when it's time.
Chris Blockley says, and with Martinez falling out of GCs, another super domestique.
Exactly. He's fallen out, and Pidcock's jumped in. So they've still got the three up there. And Martinez is not that far back himself, actually. So, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, and Great Divide says, great to see the wagon on the detour. And he also says, Chris Hurricane Hamilton having a rip snorter shepherding Bardet around. So he should catch up
very
with
well.
Chris Hamilton for the start. All right, who's your tip for today, lads? I'll get the right stage profile. This one's from 2022. Stage 10.
Nick Schultz.
Oh, yeah?
Like it.
Yeah,
right,
I can see him. If he gets in the break, it's a very good stage for Schultz.
Okay. What about you, Wagon?
Don't know. Put it up.
Yeah.
Give it one last look.
What about Kamna?
Or Vlasov. Which one do you mean?
Either or.
The Russian or the German?
They're both the same.
I don't know. That's a hard one, eh?
Yeah,
I think a break will win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon Clark.
Man.
Oh well.
Full song.
We'll wait and see. All right.
Yeah, he goes into that mix, but I think this is the most certain breakaway day we've had so far. I'd be really surprised if a break doesn't stay away. There's no way that UAE are going to try and control this one, long as it's got the right formation in the break. So you get good, and if Schultz can get into that move, I think he's a big chance. Perfect terrain for him.
Before we go, Gay says Dylan Van Baal Ineos says would only be an above average domestique if he was in Ineos. Fair sledge.
I think his tongue firmly planted in his cheek when he said that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for your support, guys. YouTube.com/Detour podcast. We'll be on again at 4 p.m. Australian Standard Time for the rest of the Tour de France. Thanks for joining us, Bills. And check out the Social Distance podcast. Fresh episode online. And if you want to buy any merch, get on to the Batuta Advocate store, Bills. We've been flogging that.
One question for you, Bills. Is that shirt, that singlet, T-shirt, whatever you got on, is that what you use when you go out hunting pigs or whatever it is, or running around the back?
It's very Kiwi, isn't it? It's actually a special edition black cap singlet, New Zealand cricket team singlet.
Okay.
Bought me for Christmas.
Nice.
And it was the first thing I saw on the floor when I got up to come and join the show, so I put it on.
Good stuff, mate. All right. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, Bills. See you, Iffy.
No worries.
Bye.
This is the winning ride of the Tour de France.